Riot Squad. I have to my immediate left none other the man that just needs one name, and as you will find out from being on this podcast, that everything Detroit he hates, but he's a great person. Black.
Yeah, how y'all doing out there? And I'm not a hater.
Okay, it's not hate, it's just a extreme dislike. But we'll move on. And to my far left, I have none other than the beautiful.
Yes.
She's here just for that beautiful smile. I mean, it just makes everything okay. You know, it just makes when the show gets tough, just look and get the smile, and everything turns all right. Tyshia, am I giving government? Am I going first day and last name? Am I putting you out here to the world, or we'll go with Ty? We're gonna go with Ty.
That works well.
Ty's in the building, and we have two very good topics today. Later we'll be doing the GOAT MC. It's a part one of a series that we're going to be doing, the greatest of all time MC. So we have over 60 MCs. Actually, we have 61 because I was told today that I left out the brat. So we have 61 at this point.
You're going back to way back when. So how you add Cardi B? He had Queen Latifah on there.
Oh, yeah, he got to put the brat on there.
You can't have Queen Latifah and not have a brat.
Yeah, so okay. So we have 61 MCs. And if at the time anybody else feels like we're missing out on something, feel free to add to the list. But we're going to rank them in seven different categories from 1 to 10. And it's part one series. We're going to see. Nick, what's your? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even introduce them first. So also we're doing prop one, proposal one. I know a lot of my people will be listening. Voted for prop one. I just happen to have those type of friends. It's okay with me. So we have Nick Galindez, correct?
Yep.
He's here. He's one of the lawyers on the side of pushing for to pass prop one, correct?
Yep.
And he's going to be here to give us, because it's the good, the bad, and the ugly of Proposition 1. So we're going to hear the good, we're going to hear the bad, we're going to hear the ugly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it is a bad to it.
All right, so we're going to get into that. So, yeah, what I did mention, what's your hip-hop? You like hip-hop? You
Yeah.
hip-hop fan?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. I mean, you want to...
Gonna have to get me on one of those lists so I can rank them too.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, say the word. Yep. Say the word. All right, so we're going to jump right into it. We're going to have a great show today. This is the inaugural show, the first show for the Fla'va on Detroit podcast. So we expect that people will tune in and keep coming back. Every Saturday, 12 noon, right here, DetroitPodcast.com. All right, so Nick, right off the top.
It's not Detroit Podcast.
It's not.
It's Podcast Detroit.
Podcast Detroit.
I mean, don't get me wrong, they both work and they both go to us, but it's easier if you just do me.
And Dave just told me, Dave's the engineer, and he's he just corrected me. So we're good now. PodcastDetroit.com. All right, Podcast Detroit. So if you're looking for that's where. But Nick, the good, Proposition 1.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that the biggest thing about Prop 1 passing is the legalization of possession and use by adults over 21. A lot of unfair arrests and disproportionately affecting certain communities is now going to stop. There were, I think, a little over 20,000 people in Michigan arrested for simple possession or some kind of marijuana-related offense, and now that will be eliminated. It'll free up resources for law enforcement to focus on more serious violent crimes and repeat offenders and things like that. And it also sets up a system for the state to regulate, tax, and issue licenses for these types of marijuana facilities for commercial consumption, as well as industrial hemp, and that kind of opens up a whole new avenue of, a whole new industry, whole new sector of products and clothes and so on and so forth.
So would I take that bruise off their record?
That's an interesting question.
Right.
I know the new Attorney General and the new Governor-elect had issued a statement saying that they were going to look into that, and I know a lot of prosecutors are starting to drop and dismiss a lot of those charges as we speak. Unfortunately, that automatic language in the law, similar to other states, wasn't in Michigan's law. So it's kind of going to need to be a work in progress. But I think because of the election and who was elected within our administration, it's a little bit less of a bumpy road than it could have been.
Let me ask you a question. So if you're on parole or probation and you drop dirty for weed, is it still a violation?
I mean, the terms of the probation are going to govern whether or not it's a violation, but certainly all the courts now and all the probation officers are going to have to take that into consideration with it being a legal substance now for those adults. Similar to prescription medication and alcohol offenses, they can say that you have to, drop clean, and you don't have to, you're not allowed to do that because of those certain things related to those criminal offenses that you had committed, and that you had to have, you have to follow those rules in order to get off probation. I think a lot of the dust is still yet to settle as far as, how the courts and how the judicial system is going to be treating that. But it's certainly a trend in the right direction in terms of, allowing this and realizing it's a plant and allowing the law enforcement to focus on a lot more serious things other than simple possession of a plant.
So if you go...
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Figuring out how employment is going to be affected.
That's fine. Just
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one of the things about Prop 1, and I guess officially the law is called the Michigan Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act. Kind of wordy, but Prop 1 basically has a language in there saying that for employment, it really allows those private employers to have free reign within reason. It still has to be reasonable. They have to set up workplace policies that all employees have notice of.
So where it gets kind of tricky is, what about employees for the state?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. So
yeah, and I mean, I think it's at its minimum, it's allowed for personal use and consumption, but all of those private employers, including the state, can implement those policies. I mean, you see healthcare providers, nurses. There's even tobacco bans on them smoking tobacco during work, and that's the same with alcohol. That's going to be the same with cannabis. It just kind of gets tricky when you think about. It stays in your system a lot longer. It's stored in your fat. There's different levels of impairment, and so it's not like alcohol with 0.08 where you're impaired, and we've determined through science and through research that it's actually the level that most Americans and most individuals are impaired by. But the research shows that with cannabis, it's heavier users typically have less impairment levels. I don't want to say all the time, but certainly it's going to
smoke too much, you go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be pretty tricky to kind of figure out what's
That is tricky.
driving while
because
impaired.
Alcohol does a mind altering. It does a shift. As far as marijuana, where have you had where somebody does it alters their perception in their mind where you're committing crimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I think nobody is advocating for driving while impaired. I know that they're rolling out roadside saliva testing, which is combined with drug recognition experts from law enforcement are supposed to be able to determine whether or not that individual specifically is impaired by marijuana. But it's just not really a hard and fast line. Like in other states, there's 0.5 or 0.10 nanograms in your blood. But even that, there's some studies that show it's not really indicative of who is impaired versus who isn't.
So I'm driving down the street. I have the legal amount of marijuana in my car. I get pulled over. Does that automatically mean that I have to get tested then at that point?
Nope. What's going to happen, and it's kind of going to be different in the car, I believe, versus at your home. You're allowed to have 2.5 ounces in your possession. The police won't necessarily get to use smell as probable cause to search the vehicle. But again, in Prop 1, it says that you can't operate while you're impaired. You can't smoke cannabis in the car. And also the passengers in the car aren't able to smoke cannabis in the car. So I would think that if you're driving and an officer smells that odor, he could reasonably think that, okay, maybe this person that was driving might have been smoking. That's a lot different than in the home where, they used to be able to use the strong odor of marijuana as a reason to potentially get a warrant or potentially go search the house. But now that it's legal, they would need more than that, some suspicion of you growing more plants than you're allowed to. The law allows you to grow 12 plants at your residence. So it's going to be a lot different for law enforcement in general, just having to deal with that and change their ways of investigating and looking for crimes.
And that's another question I have as far as growers. So if I'm growing it at my home, how is that regulated? how do you regulate somebody growing? How much? I know they say you only can grow 12 plants, correct?
Yep, 12
So-
plants at your residence.
I mean, is that taxed? I mean, and if so, how? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no. The home grows are not going to be taxed. There's language in the law saying, if you're a landlord, if you're a property manager, you can prohibit the possession.
Okay.
Well, actually, so you can't prohibit the possession, but you can prohibit the smoking of the actual flower. But you can't say, hey, if you have a vape pen or some kind of edibles, the landlord and the property manager can't just completely ban that. So there's that. But as far as regulations, I mean, it's going to be kind of not the Wild West, but it's certainly,
Right.
Think about it. If you're growing any kind of herbs at your house or any kind of tomatoes in your windowsill, it's going to be kind of like that. But there's alternative avenues for you to get stuff from a licensed commercial marijuana establishment is what they're called. And so I think a lot of people will be hobbyists and grow some for their own use, but then there's going to be so much more higher grade, tested, different varieties of different products at these local retail establishments that a lot of people are going to be also going to. Because I think just, for the fact of the matter is cannabis isn't easy to grow. It's a very temperamental plant, and you can get mites and different kind of microbial bacterias in there, and it's not going to be for everyone just to, put the seed in the ground and have it
Right.
root up. And
Everyone will have a green thumb.
Right, exactly.
It's going to be quite interesting because you're going to see it pop up everywhere. Every corner going to have a store. But here's the catch to it. I think the THC level, once it become open, is going to go down. It's not going to be as strong as it normally be because there's so many people having it. And I think that's where you're going to have another problem at.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think there's going to be kind of two tracks. The medical track, the facility licenses are still up and running. They're rolling out that system. And those are going to be for those people in Michigan who have debilitating and chronic diseases or conditions. The marijuana there is going to be specifically tailored to those certain types of conditions that they have, and depending on if they need a higher THC level to be able to deal with their condition, that'll be available. But the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs is going to have a lot of leeway to set THC maximum levels and potency and a lot of testing, packaging, safety, security requirements. And also the local municipalities, to address your question about them being all over the place at every corner, just like with the Medical Facilities Act, they do allow them to have the power to allow these, completely prohibit them. They can determine how many they want to have in their local community and how far away from certain things that they might need to be located, such as schools, churches, and other things like that. So,
My next question to you is, why haven't the government adapted to it? Because even though the state passed it, the government haven't passed it. So if the feds came into a facility, they could still shut it down. Why haven't the government got on board with it?
Yeah, and I think that's always a risk, and that's always a question we get from a lot of our potential and current clients is, what about the federal government? If I own a property, if I'm operating, what could happen to me? And we always have to tell them, there is the looming federal law. It is still a controlled Schedule I controlled substance at the federal level. But there have been certain amendments, certain policies from the Department of Justice that does not allow them to allocate resources to cracking down, so to speak, of these marijuana facilities in states that do have these laws, as long as those operators are following the law. There's certain directives that say, if you're distributing to minors or you're drug trafficking across states or there's marijuana plus other things involved, that's really what they're looking for, diversion to the black market, selling to minors, bad actors within the state-regulated system are the ones that they really are trying to stop.
But you got one of your biggest opposers, Mr. Napoleon, who's saying flat out that no matter what, he's going to enforce the federal law, so in every situation. So I mean, how does that? I mean, so what are we to do as citizens? As that's the imbalance that we're dealing with, where law enforcement still is looking at it as being illegal, even though now we have, it's passed in the state. So.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's why we need good lawyers like you, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's just a matter of everyone getting used to it. I think cannabis medically and recreationally, or more appropriate term for that is adult use, just because people aren't, recreation, you think of playing around, but it's, the reason why we were trying to regulate it like marijuana like tobacco and alcohol is because it was wrongfully, prohibition was wrongfully instated. And I think there's been a lot of resistance from those who aren't understanding of it, certain other political interests about it. But I mean, if you look at Colorado, California, Washington, Oregon, all of the other states that have legalized it in one way, shape, or form, Canada, Mexico, all of these places are starting to come on board, not to mention all of the places in Europe that are allowing it. We don't see too much law enforcement there, either from the federal or state government, really cracking down on it. It really is about those who are breaking the rules and trying to find loopholes or just blatantly breaking the law within the system. And then, of course, there's still going to be the issue of the black market, which needs to be absorbed and which needs to be addressed because it will still exist. I know Colorado has had issues, reasonable issues with just rolling their programs out. And finally, I think that the statistics are showing, when the price falls to a certain reasonable amount and there's enough access in stores, both medical and adult use, that the black market does get absorbed because people who do want to go and purchase cannabis do want to go to a safe, clean store where they know and rely on the product and it's safe and clean. Rather than just going to your back alley dealer or just
So you
somebody.
can put all the drug dealers out of work, Nick. That's the goal.
Well, and I think drug dealers has a bad connotation to it.
It's okay.
It's
all right. The young men with who have other ways of making income, I guess. Or I don't know what else you could call it.
right, and I mean, I think the bottom line is that we want it to be within the system, tested, taxes being absorbed to it. There's going to be 15% that goes to the local communities that have them, 15% to the counties, and then I think the bigger piece of the pie, 35% to K through 12 schools, and 35% to fixing the roads and the bridges, and that's in proportion to.
They still get money on
That'll never
fixing
be
the roads,
seen
huh?
through schools or
Right.
roads ever.
I don't understand that because they always talk about
The
we're gonna
lottery.
donate the money to the schools. We're gonna fix the roads. I just hit a pothole.
Oh, yeah.
It ain't,
You hit a pothole or you fell in the pothole?
almost.
Yeah, and I think, and that's a thing kind of more speaking to the government and the way they allocate and gather the funds and then what they do with it.
Bullshit.
So,
Let's just keep it 100. That's really just propaganda. It's bullshit. Here's the thing. Like what you say about the young guys out here that have to get out in the street. It's going to make it better for them. And I'm going to tell you why it's going to make it better for them. Because these stores are going to still be regulated.
Inflation.
And you coming to someone else, they got to up their game. They don't want to pay that 15% tax. You'd rather come somewhere and it's going to be strong. It's going to be good.
So you saying it's gonna make it better for the drug dealers?
The hood.
Oh, we're not gonna call them drillers.
No,
we're
but
gonna
see,
make it better
The hood
for
man
The hood
is
man.
he's going to still benefit. He's
gonna
not going to
benefit.
lose. Nobody
See,
wants to
and
pay
so-
that tax.
And so there's nuances with that too, because what the law doesn't allow is you can grow up to 12 plants, give up to 2.5 ounces away, as long as you don't advertise it or promote it to the public. And the big key to that is that you cannot ask for any what they call remuneration, which is basically payment for that.
No money.
So, I know that there's been things about donations and things, creative ways to maybe label that transfer as not being paid for it. But that is certainly something that, on the back end, it used to be a misdemeanor or a felony. If you're working outside of the law now, it's more of a civil infraction, a $500, $1,000, $1,500 penalty, except for those, intentional, willful violations down the line.
I was laughing because I was thinking about girls giving donations for marijuana, Nick. That's or other people giving donations, which you label as donations.
Right.
Yeah, that could be a long list of different donations, Nick.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Black.
So are they still going to raid all these stores they have? Like how you see them raid the smoke shops and then take people cars and all this if they don't have a weed card? Is that going to shut down or are they going to still raid them?
I think there will be less reason for them to do that. I know that the partner of our firm, Barton Morris, has brought to light something similar happening in Detroit, and it's been happening for years and years and years, where there was a medical marijuana patient, who would stop by a facility. The police would be watching, And after she came out, they pulled her over,
Entrapment.
took her car, didn't charge her with anything, and then you
Entrapment.
have to pay to try to fight and get your car back. I think now, as long as those facilities are serving 21 years old adults and all those adults are responsible with keeping it in their cars and not smoking it as soon as they get out of the store, I don't see any reason for law enforcement to be shutting down these facilities that are legitimate, even more so now with Prop 1 passing.
So here's the next thing. So if I had 2 ounces on my front seat, could I ride around? It's right on the
According
front
to
seat.
law.
To the law, right? I can ride around. Don't have no license as far as the weed license. Because it's recreation, right? I ain't smoking in the car, but I got 2 ounces of some chronic. Can I ride with it?
Yeah, well, I would recommend riding with it in the glove compartment or in the trunk, though, just in case, let's say
Spoken as
you're
a true lawyer.
speeding,
now.
just say you're speeding and you get pulled over and they still do smell that strong odor, and then
But they smell it not because I'm blowing. It's because it's reeking from the bag. And I didn't conceal it because they said because it's an open gun law.
Right.
You can have open gun law. You don't need a gun permit. And what I'm saying to you is, until you put it inside the car,
Right.
then it's concealed.
Well, you conceal it.
So is that being concealed by me having it in the car? Can I just have it on the front seat? Because I need to know these things, Nick.
Yeah, of course.
Because I want to test the law. I'm one of the guys. I'm going to test the law. I got a lot of good lawyers. I want to get 2 ounces. Set them on my front seat.
Hanging in your rearview mirror or something.
Yeah, just ride with it. And then when they pull me over, my license and insurance is good. I want to see what they going to do.
You want to get your ass beat. That's what you want. That's what you really want.
Yeah, I mean, I think that to my knowledge, there's nothing in Prop 1 that says anything about having it transported in your car, just that you can't be smoking it or have any of your passengers smoking the
Because if
marijuana.
it come a problem, I'm calling you.
More than happy to help.
And you're going to represent me for
Do you
free.
see his hat though? He said he's down to the earth.
I like that.
All right.
Well, I have to ask you shit.
Yeah, so the biggest thing,
Oh,
obviously,
one
is
question.
it's the money, right? That's what that's what everybody wants to know. They want to know how that's going to be, regulated or how it's going to be sanctioned off. You mentioned that the 35% going back to the school, 15% to the municipalities. So that's the bottom line, right? So that's the reason why we want to do it, because other states have been very profitable. Colorado speaks of, how profitable it has been. So can you give us what's the good about that? Why should we be happy that it's passed? How is the money going to make everything better? I guess that's my best question.
Yeah, and I don't think that cannabis legalization is the solution to all of the world's problems, the state's problems certainly. But I think that on balance, and I know there's a lot of health concerns and about a lot of people who are in opposition to it. We're worried about people driving impaired and access to children. But on the other side of that, you have the social justice aspect of it. You have the bringing it from the unregulated market into the rest of just the normal market that's taxed like everything else. And I think, normalizing it, creating jobs, taking buildings and improving them and increasing the tax base for those communities, revitalizing certain industrial areas that have been, blighted and ruined for years and years and years. All of those on balance kind of weigh in favor of having done this. And I think that the good about it is that it's going to allow Michigan to join, or at least be on the forefront, or at least with the trend of the rest of the nation and the country and the world in allowing this instead of prohibiting it like we had for the past several tens and years in the past.
Okay. So what should go? You think all 50 states? We're number 10 now, so can you see 40 more states coming in? And
I think it's going to be a slow roll still. I think there's a lot to work out from the federal government's end of things. There's the States Act that's before our United States Congress right now that would allow the states basically to do what they've been doing. They would take marijuana off of the controlled substances list and say, okay, we're going to just let the states have their rights, whether or not they want to legalize it for medical or recreational use. If that happens, though, I'm not sure about interstate commerce. Could somebody ship it in from California, or is it going to be each state is its own contained bubble?
I don't think they can. because that's where the government come in at. Because once you go state line,
Federal
it become
line.
federal.
Closer to my.
It become a little bit federal. So I don't think they can be shipping weed from state to state.
Well, yeah, that's the
That would-
question.
that would
Yeah.
be a
You the
beautiful
lawyer.
thing.
That's
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
Well,
you the lawyer. Tell
Yeah, and then I think too I think each state would want to have it contained so that you can't transfer it because
Sure.
these licenses are valuable. They're
Sure, it's
limited
taking
in
money away
number
from the state.
locally. And then once the floodgates open up and the federal government, it's not a question of if, I think it's a question of when and how long. But once they do open it up for interstate commerce, international commerce, then you have California is already a powerhouse in the cannabis industry because of how they're treating this. California and Colorado have a head start already. There's a ton of supply in Oregon that's, the prices are so low there, but if you could ship it out to Michigan, the
Right.
quality product there would be a lot more.
Right.
So as a Michigan licensee, if you have, the potential plans to get into this industry, either medical or adult use or both, those are all things you have to kind of think about in the big picture. Right now, I'm sure a lot of people are just focusing on licensing. A lot of individuals are happy that they're going to be able to do this without any criminal penalties being imposed on them. But, those who can kind of react and plan for all of these things, whether it be, things coming in from interstate or from Canada, I think that's going to be the next big step. And hiccup, and so those Michigan businesses in here are going to have to kind of adapt and be ready for that when that does happen.
Well, I can't wait till that happen. When you can actually mail something in the mail and just wait for it to come. I can't wait. Oh my God, I can't wait.
And the police can't wait to be following you when you leave this building today.
I'll give you my card on the way out.
Right.
All they're gonna do is have some practice.
They
can
said
follow.
he wanted to test it.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
gonna test the
Tess.
system out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Make sure you have your phone on while you test it.
Oh, I'm
man.
gonna definitely test the system out. I'm gonna have it on camera.
Yeah, okay.
And that's
Blackmail
the other thing too about being a test case is that the Board of Canvassers still needs to certify the election results. So as of right now, you cannot smoke cannabis if you are an adult and be following the law. It's about 10 days or so, or I think no later than November 26th is when they officially give the okay for the election results.
Tell
and then-
everybody to stop smoking
that
to
would be the
November
effective
26th, Nick.
Yep.
That's what you're advising?
Yes. As an
Everybody.
attorney, I would advise that 100%.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, do you indulge a little bit on your off time?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. So you like to blow
Got to
too, huh?
test the product. If you're going to represent it, you got to be all in it. Huh?
It helps you know more about the
There
whole
you
industry
go.
if you are participated in it or at least have some familiarity with it. Yes.
What about the myth, or is it a myth that now everybody's insurance is going to go up? Is that true? Is that going to happen? I've heard people say that's one of the reasons we shouldn't vote for it because now, areas that that have marijuana, so the crime rates are going to go up. So what do you say to that, Nick?
I think it's a misconception about correlation and causation. I mean, Michigan's insurance rates are already one of the highest in the nation as it is. I think that's because we have no-fault insurance, and I think our insurance system needs to be revamped on its own.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
So
That's another-
to say that it'll rise,
Yeah, that's another topic. We need to have a
Yeah.
discussion on that.
And the other thing too is like in Colorado, they're saying, accidents are increasing more because of marijuana.
I don't believe that.
But more people are moving to Colorado. There's accidents that are increasing across the nation anyway. So to say that, to take those two little factors and say one caused the other is a misconception. And so I think that,
Correlation is not causation.
exactly.
Exactly. I feel you on that.
Exactly.
I don't believe that though. I'd rather someone smoke weed than a drunk driver blaze through a light. Because when you smoking weed, it relaxes you. They still be stuck at the light if they smoke
Yeah,
good
that's right.
stuff.
If we smoke weed, they'd probably be stuck at
They
the
be
light.
stuck
as
at the
opposed
light.
to
The light didn't
flying
probably
through the light.
change.
So one or the other. Which way you choose?
So you choose your poison. Yeah, it's crazy. I never thought they would legalize it here, but I think it may be a good thing.
Money. You might as well get on board. I'm losing money. Everybody going. I got to figure out a way. He just said it.
That's a
Look
good
at all the
thing.
taxes they put on it.
Yeah, they put a
I
lot
might
of
as well
taxes.
join the bandwagon to get something.
I just want to know at the end of the day where the money really going, because it ain't going to the
Where the
school.
money's really going. It's the big question.
So that's the question.
That's the big
What
one.
do you think is the ugly? That's what I wanted to ask you. So what's the worst thing by now Prop 1 being passed? What is the worst?
And this is very hard because I have to kind of grasp at straws to find something that's bad about it because I
Okay.
am very pro Prop 1, pro cannabis. To the extent I think that, everyone says, okay, yes, smoking marijuana is less harmful than cigarettes. but it's still putting something into your lungs that could harm it. And I think that it's about, and the other thing that they say is that there have been increased hospitalizations because of overdoses. And that I don't like that term overdose, because I think it's an adverse reaction to too much marijuana in your
but that's
system.
the manipulation of it. You don't know what that person had or what has been done to it. So I wouldn't sincerely say that it was that.
Well, how many?
So it's the
Yeah, I've never known nobody to overdose
that's what I
off
was
weed,
going to ask you.
man.
How
I'm
many
just
cases
saying.
have you
I'm
dealt with someone overdose off some weed?
See,
Right.
somebody spoke a lot of weed,
No,
but
and that's
I
what
just never. They went to sleep, Nick. But
Because I had a friend, right?
they
And-
Over 8.
Listen, I had a friend.
he ain't dead. He just shake him. He
Yeah,
all
I
right.
had a
He ain't
friend,
dead.
and when I say he blew, and all he would do after he get through blowing, and he'd wake back up, get to eating, get munching, and blow some more. I never saw somebody overdose. You had to get mouth to mouth.
Yeah, so to just call them overdoses at hospitalizations is, I think, completely wrong. I think it's just about being safe, and those who are going to try it or try different kinds, I think it's just important for everyone, to educate. The state, I think, is going to need to do good jobs of that. All of the facility licensees are going to have to do a good job of just, the labeling requirements are there, the packaging requirements are there, but people just need to be knowledgeable about dosing. Don't take 500 milligrams of a candy bar all at once if you've never had an edible.
Right,
2 hours
for sure.
later, you will probably feel like you might want to go to the hospital because you're.
And
not
I
used
guess
to
that might be
level,
the extreme cases of somebody,
It's an
getting
overdose.
hospitalization, the edibles, because the edibles are a little bit,
Potent.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's going directly in
To
as
your
opposed to
bloodstream.
smoking. So I probably had. Is that where you seen most of the cases coming from? When indulging in the edibles, as opposed,
Yeah, people not knowing how strong the edible is, or but they do on the packaging, especially in the other states I've been. They have pamphlets out there that say for a normal user, maybe try 1 or 2 of these 10 milligram cookies or pieces of a candy bar. If you've never tried it, try half. There's these informational materials that should be given out, and everyone should be aware of how much.
Yeah.
How much they
wasn't
should
a
be
girl in Michigan that passed out the brownies at the high school? Wasn't the case something out there recently?
Yeah,
Anybody
I heard that,
Was
yeah.
she-
Yeah, I think I saw that right before the election
Right.
happening. I was like,
she
oh,
went out and
gosh.
passed out brownies and didn't tell everybody. The whole high school guy. All right. So is there anything else that you want to, give the people? Tell us about this whole Prop 1. Any other facts that you could give us, information that's behind the lines that we don't know or that we should know even more so?
I think the biggest thing is just the time frame. The state doesn't have to start accepting applications until about a year from now, and then it'll be kind of. I think they have 90 days to decide on these license applications. As long as those people who are applying submit a complete application, they have 90 days to decide. So it would be a lot faster than the medical licensing has been rolling out. But it's still going to be a while until people can go to a marijuana establishment, either a micro business or a retailer, which was more or less your dispensary, and actually purchase these products. So
What's
it's
the
going
cost of that? The cost?
for the micro businesses and
The application and process. This is not personal people. We're just talking about regular businesses, right? Okay, sorry.
yeah, no. So the rules and regulations as far as the licensing goes for these cannabis businesses is going to be rolled out by the Licensing and Regulatory Affairs Department,
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
which
that's a
will probably
good
be
question.
several months. And
How much startup? I'm asking for a friend. If I wanted to start up a business, what's the average?
yeah, and I mean the
For
numbers
free.
aren't there yet.
Yeah.
You can kind of use the medical framework right now for what the costs are, but it's still kind of, are they going to make them a little bit lower? Are they going to keep them the same? There's a few different license types that are newer now for adult use. I know that for the local communities, an application can charge up to $5,000. The medical license application for the state costs $6,000, so I would assume maybe the same price for that. You have to show capitalization in terms of assets.
Yeah, I heard you had to have at least $100,000 in the bank.
I heard 250,000. That's what
It
I
was
heard.
100, but I heard. Let me ask you a question, Nick. Are we going to see Newport, Marlboro, Southern Light come out with a strand of weed?
If they want to get it in the business, they're more than welcome to. I think actually the alcohol business, Constellation Brands, had bought a part of a bigger, Canadian company. They deal with Corona and several of those other
So they have Corona
alcoholic
weed, huh?
brands. I'm surprised that the tobacco industry hasn't really jumped on
I'm pretty
board
sure
yet.
they're going to jump in now.
You know.
Once there's more states start to get on board with it, I'm pretty sure they'll jump on board with it and start coming
It's a little
out.
different though because
Get your
they're
Newport blunt.
Yeah, they're not really catering. You know, the cannabis consumer is more like, I think at least the ones that regularly smoke are more like the craft beer connoisseurs, where they appreciate quality and different tastes and different flavor profiles that, you know, those Walmart brands
You don't
or
want to
just, you know,
marginalize.
Marlboro is going to just give you the standard, you know, swag weed that you maybe could find several, 20 years ago. It'll be cheap, it'll be effective enough for what you want, but those people who have been paying, you know, those amounts for ounce, you know, $40 an ounce or $40 an eighth, or, you know, things like that, I think they'll
Right.
be wanting those higher
Look at
quality.
Nick know the lane.
quality.
Nick know
Nick
weed.
know the way go. He said, "Hey, you done bought a couple in your days." I did.
Really?
Okay.
No comment.
Right. right.
Okay.
Not until November 26th,
Right.
man.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Shit. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna blaze. I'm gonna keep on blazing, Nick.
Be safe.
I'm gonna blaze as soon as I leave out of here. I'm just talking.
Yeah, he just talking. All right, great, Nick. If it's nothing else, man, I really glad to have you down here because I think you shed light on a lot of what, you know, the questions were behind, you know, Prop 1. So I'm very glad. And hopefully you could come back again and, you know, give us more information. Now, you're welcome to sit in, man, on the hip-hop. You know, I mean, you said you're welcome to sit in. We're going to go break it down here, and I'm sure, you know, we're gonna get a little some disagreement on a lot of these MCs here.
Whole
So
lot.
yeah, so
I don't even know why you
yeah,
got half
yeah.
a more.
See, that's what
That's
I'm
why I
saying.
said a whole
whole
lot.
lot.
Well, hey, yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for having me. I know all of us attorneys at the Cannabis Legal Group really appreciate you reaching out to us.
Definitely.
What we've been trying to do is really just, you know, kind of be helpful during this process in terms of regulatory compliance, educating individuals, municipalities, government officials, just to kind of really be part of this industry and help out all those involved. So I really appreciate you guys.
Well, if
inviting
someone
us on.
needed you, how would they get in touch with you? Where would they find you at? How can they call you? Or can they go to a website? Or
Yeah, so Cannabis Legal Group is located in Royal Oak, Michigan. We are at 520 North Main Street, and we have a website. Yeah, you can just go to cannabislegalgroup.com, and all our contact information is on there, and happy to help however we can.
okay,
That's how I found you. All right,
that's what's
appreciate
up.
you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Blaze
All
for me on the 26th.
All right, well, that was our discussion on Prop 1. I hope that we were in some way helped to inform. Our goal is to reveal intelligence on time. That's why we have the Riot Squad here. So I think that I hope we help. And everybody, again, do as Nick told you. Don't blaze until the 26th, man, you know, when it's legal. So blaze up. On the 26th, we're going to blaze up, though, Nick. It's going to be blazing everywhere. It's going to go down
They
big.
gonna walk up the street blazing.
No, you're going to jail.
Oh, yeah, that's the last thing. You cannot smoke in public.
Yeah, man, you ain't listening. Honey.
Look, this is your CPL laws, just with a
It's
different
no
spin.
different than drinking in public. You can't walk around with alcohol. You can't walk. Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
here.
There you go.
Well, yeah, we're not New Orleans,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
New Orleans, you can
Right.
walk
For a
the
number of different reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I don't know why people that like to drink wouldn't move to New Orleans. That would be a good place.
That's another
Because the
topic,
heat
man.
is disrespectful.
Huh?
The heat is disrespectful.
In New Orleans?
Yes.
Yeah, where they can drink and pass out. They ain't gotta worry about DUIs.
Yeah, right.
You can have open alcohol in your car.
That's true.
I mean, I got pulled over in New Orleans, and I had some liquor, and they didn't act like it wasn't.
You tested there too?
Yeah, I tested that. And boy, was I pissy. I wasn't driving, though, but I was pissy. I was still drinking. They didn't say anything about the alcohol. They checked the license, registration, and said, y'all have a good day.
Wow.
But we wasn't in the wrong part of New Orleans, because if we'd have been in one of the parish,
Right.
my black ass probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's get into the next topic. The GOAT MC. Greatest of all time. MC. Yeah, he's going to need that card, Nick. Thanks. He's
Yeah,
very-
Nick, I'm gonna need
Bye,
that card, Nick. Bye, Nick. Come back, man. Don't
Can
be a
we get one
stranger.
of those hats?
It's from another vendor, actually. It's not ours.
Gotcha.
Got you.
Just say it says
Yeah.
all
Reach out,
natural
though.
fertilization.
Yeah.
Try to reach out to them and get some.
That'd be nice, Nick. Thanks,
That'd be
man.
nice.
I
Nick.
think Black would like one of those.
Yeah, Nick, I would love one.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, I definitely would love one.
All right, thanks for having me on.
Nice meeting you.
Nice
All
meeting
right.
you. Come back. Don't be a stranger now, Nick.
Yeah, happy to be on anytime.
26 Blaze for us.
How much time we got left, Dave? Just checking.
About 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes?
Yeah.
That should be good enough for this.
Who's
That's,
put MC Hammer
He
number
printed
8?
that up.
No, that's top selling, man. That's
Oh,
those
top
are
selling
top
of all
selling.
time.
Do not disrespect Pumps and a Bump.
Yeah, you go.
I mean, I like MCL.
Listen, I'm not gonna respond to that.
Right.
Do you know that was my first concert and how old
Really,
I was when
MC
I
Hammer?
went? Yeah.
That had an effect on you the rest of your life. This first imagery of
That
seeing
was.
those parachute pants, just never the
It
same. Huh?
was. That was a gift from my
Hey,
dad
hey.
for my birthday.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's good.
That shows
Let me
how
ask
old
you a
I am.
question.
That's bad.
So let me explain it first. Let me explain what we're doing to the people, and then we'll get right into it. We got 20 minutes for this part one. So what we have done, we have taken over 61 MCs, MCs that you know and listen to every day, and we've broken them up into 7 different categories that we are going to rank from 1 to 10.
Oh, he gave me a card.
The first category is flow. The second category is storytelling. All these are things of MCs. Cultural influence. And when I say cultural influence, I mean the hip-hop culture. So influence on the hip-hop culture. Record sales. That's why I gave you this information with the record sales of some MCs. Metaphors. Being able to use metaphors in their rhymes is something that all MCs have to do. Conscious lyrics, whether they are saying something in their lyrics that's conscious or will make you go home and say, that was, he put some thought behind it. Style, because every MC should have a style that people want to mimic and be like. And the last is popular or awards, Grammys, money, popular. So those are the 7 categories. We're going to rank each MC from 1 to 10 in that category. And then based upon the scores, that's how we will rank them. Everybody clear? We good with this? Everybody clear? We good? Just blink if you're alive. Just blink if you're alive. That's good enough for me. This is part 1. So what we're going to attempt to do today, we took the top 10, and it's not in any type of order. It's just how they were wrote down on the paper. It's not in any type of order. We just took 10 MCs that we're going to talk about and try to talk about them today.
He said no.
And if
to the
Black can get through this, we'll
he said
we'll
throw the
be
whole
good.
list away.
This shit is garbage.
And you
And
see how
then
he
you saying
feels.
that they got style and flow. These motherfuckers nowadays don't have styles and flow. They mumble rappers. I don't have. If the only way you understand the Future, you have to be high. I had to listen to Future one song 30 times. I had felt like I was illiterate or dumb. I had a drink, got buzzed, then I started hearing, understand what he was saying. Went back in the house and went in the closet and counted it up. I don't understand it. Okay, I respect Cardi B hustle. Horrible.
But you gotta understand that hip hop is not. It didn't stop with us. So this
continues.
artists say
It-
That's why
continue
you said
to
it's
come
gonna
Yes,
be
yes, it
continuous.
did. No, it really did.
started
Let's be
with-
honest.
you
It
know,
really did.
Truthfully, hip hop did. David.
I believe it was the wise prophet Chris Rock who said, "I can defend. You must learn. I can defend.
Right.
Fight the power. I
can't
have no
defend your
words
shit."
for move, bitch. Get out the way. I got nothing.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that is true.
And that's true.
I
And
have
nowadays,
to
they're not
agree
saying
with
shit.
you.
That is very true.
They're not. I mean, nowadays these rappers not saying anything other than I smoke a pound of weed, I take a whole bottle of pills. It's just like all of them is drug addicts.
But they're talking what's relevant to
What-
those people listening to.
That's right.
We talking about the
Hip hop is
mindset.
dead, man.
Okay, so that's another conversation.
It's
Hip hop
dead.
is dead.
It's
That's
definitely dead.
another podcast. We got a lot more shows. We could do that one, but rappers are still out here, and
Where?
well,
Oh,
they're
my.
still rapping. Whether we think it's rap or not, or whether we think it's
Do you
mumble
like
rap
new
or
school
what.
rap?
Overall, no. It's a
Okay.
few of them that I do like.
And do you listen to it?
A few of them. I listen to J. Cole.
Okay.
I like J. Cole.
I don't listen to J. Cole.
Yeah, I like Kendrick Lamar.
I don't listen to him either.
Yeah, well, see,
I mean,
like
I'm
them.
not saying that they're not good at what they do. They just not my cup
So
of tea.
when you're in the car, you put on your own rap CDs, or you just let
Yes.
the radio go?
Oh, the radio horrible. No, I either cut the radio off or just put my iPod on and let it just play. I like old school. I like the Run DMCs, the LL Cool J's, the
Yeah, but you
Scarface.
gotta grow up, man. You got.
I'm grown up. I can't feel the Jay-Z's.
I mean, you gotta move out that air. I mean, you can't stay in 1982,
you know,
Black. It's
not that I'm in
Hey,
82,
Stop with the 82s.
but you know what it
Oh,
is
that's
though.
right. You weren't even born there, right? Yeah, right. See,
That's
that's what I'm trying to say.
Don't show your age, Ty. Don't do that. to
Yeah, that's
yourself.
what she's here, so she has to be.
You know, by me being
You about to make her choke to death.
By me
Come on.
being in the industry at one time and work with a lot of people in the industry, I saw a lot of things that common people don't see. And this is a myth that Jay-Z says all the time. And I know for it being a true fact at a hit factory in New York, I had a chance to be in there. He don't rap without a book. He has a book. That's a myth. Only person to ever rap without a book, just going here and beating rap, was Biggie Small.
All right, but that's a good segue because Biggie is number one. So let's start this.
Eminem.
Not
was
number
one?
one as we think he's
Eminem?
number one,
No.
but on the
You know
list.
what?
With a book.
Freestyle.
Without a book.
Nah,
Freestyle.
he got
Battle?
a pencil and paper and a book that they write, and they be in the studio like we and you talking, and they reading and rapping
Not all the time.
until they learn it.
So
But Jay-Z,
technology is now they rap into their phones now.
yeah, either or.
Yeah, so it's,
The great R. Kelly, you know,
he gonna bring R. Kelly up on today.
Really can't bring that up.
Yeah, really.
you might as well.
You gonna
We
start
got
the
who
first
you
show?
got on here?
MC Hammer.
MC Hammer. I mean, what the list
Let's
at?
be clear. MC Hammer is not on the list
No,
that we're
he's
ranking.
top
Let's
selling.
be
He's-
clear.
he is
not.
on the
Yeah,
top
right.
seller list.
He's just one. We also, have the top selling list, but he is not. I am not ranking MC Hammer. He is not on in the GOAT
So are you going to
conversation.
call everybody's name off and we give a
Yeah, that's
rank
what I was
for
gonna
it,
try
or-
to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was.
think we need to hush Black.
He's trying.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be quiet.
yeah, that's what the goal was. So again, the first MC that we have
on my
listed
list.
today
You got one.
Oh, baby, I'm
is
sorry, Jack.
the
My
great
bad. I'm so
B.I.G.
used to taking stuff. I'm sorry.
First one we have listed today is the great B.I.G. Now, some say he's the greatest rapper of all time. I've heard that said in many occasions. So what we want to do also, there has to be criteria who we put on the list. Like one thing for sure, they have to have more than 2 albums out. So
Biggie
really
Small.
3 would be more like be considered a GOAT. You can't go to the Hall of Fame if you've never made the All-Star game,
So
right?
listen, you have to
Yeah,
help me
so-
out with that. But when I was at work last night, I had to harass a couple guests and my coworkers.
Okay.
Look, I don't. You see this list?
This is what you got from your coworkers?
This is what I had guests, so they were like Eminem, Mac 10,
10,
E40,
ooh.
Tupac, Biggie.
Why?
Kanye was questionable. Jay-Z, Cube, DMX, Lil Wayne, Rakim, 50 Cent, The Brat,
Rakim.
Nas,
Rakim was
Cool
a
G,
legend.
Scarface, Big Daddy, KRS-One, LL
KRS-One's
Cool
a
J,
legend.
Pimp C,
So
Slick
most of
Rick,
those are
Big
on our
Pun.
list.
Yeah.
Most of those are on our list.
So, but look, I had to do some investigating. You put homework on me and stuff.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for.
Well, you an 80s baby, right?
What does that mean?
It's easy for you now. All you do is pick your phone up.
Yeah,
That
something
is
different.
correct.
So let's go with Biggie. Let's start with him. Flow. Now, I rank Biggie as far as flow as an 8. Because to me, Biggie had a great flow. And last time we did this on Flavor with Big Bob was with me, I said Biggie didn't rap like a fat man. He didn't have, like, if I listen to
You
Biggie.
throwing shade at Heavy D?
Say it one more time. Well, Heavy D, I loved Heavy D. I thought Heavy D had a great style to it. But if you listen to some guys,
D
their
went
flow
for
is
rough,
more. If I never saw Biggie, I would have thought he was a tall, light skinned, smooth cat. I wouldn't have saw that
Really?
because his
Really?
flow was just so smooth.
So
It
how
came
do you
out-
equate smooth to light skinned tall?
Well, I mean, that's what I consider smooth because I'm light skinned, I'm tall.
Oh,
I mean, I'm just saying.
wow. Okay,
Yeah, actually.
that's what's up.
That's what's in my mind. You know what I think smooth. I think
I
me.
didn't. I
Yeah.
hear his jaws flapping.
Yeah, I don't hear that.
Yeah, the same way.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear that. So, but I disagree. So,
When-
so I gave him an
well,
8.
And the man's name is Biggie.
Yeah,
I mean-
but Biggie Smalls, where he got the name Biggie Smalls from, was from the movie. Let's Do It Again. The gangster. Yeah, Let's Do It Again. And Biggie Smalls was not a big guy. He was Biggie Smalls. Yeah. Anyway,
I
so
like
I
Biggie.
gave him an 8. I don't know. What would you say, Black? I'm going to dare to ask you.
I
Just
like
for-
Biggie. I think Biggie had flow. I would probably give him an 8. Yeah, definitely give him an 8.
For the little bit I remember, I would have to agree.
Okay.
Definitely a GOAT. Now, Biggie definitely was a GOAT. Tory,
Dave, you want to throw yourself in?
Same boat, and honestly, one of the things about him is that he didn't have, because a lot of rappers, even back in the day, had like one beat that they would go over.
Right.
Like a lot of those songs were interchangeable. He was not. Like, I mean, it was all a different mix, a different rhythm, different whatever, and he was always smooth.
All right, great. So we have an 8 for Biggie. We keep it score. That's what you got pens for.
I don't have a pen. I'm going to use use hers.
We're sharing.
All right, great.
Sharing is
Next
caring.
category is storyteller. Now, I think Biggie was a good storyteller. I just would have considered him one of the best storytellers.
I would have to agree.
I mean, some of his songs were very, he set a picture. You know, you could actually visualize what he was saying. That's what you go for, a good storyteller. Somebody that where you could listen to it, you could see it. You know, he makes it a picture in your mind. So I gave him a 7.5. I'm doing 0.5s because I'm a Russian judge here. So we're doing 0.5s. That's what I gave him.
I don't know. I think he was decent to storyteller. I'll probably give him an 8.
You give him 8, you don't go above that?
8, maybe 9. Biggie was cold, man. He was a GOAT. I mean, he had style. I mean, he tells hell of a stories. And actually, the stories that he told, you can really feel them because they was true. You know what I mean? It's not like a Rick Ross that sold a whole image and lied about everything that he was. I can't believe a rapper like that. But Biggie, yeah, you can feel it.
All right.
Yeah. And as far as what you remember,
As far as what I remember, see, I can't paint a picture from his story, so I say 6. What that?
Say a 6? Okay. Dave, you in the room, so we're going to...
You know what?
I'd
I'd
put
put him
it
up.
up
I'd put him up towards an 8. I mean, just because I do. I think of every song of his I listen to, and I've been listening to more. I had a friend that told me to stop being so close-minded, and so instead of listening to 80s on 8 all the time, now I'm listening to 90s on 9 a lot more, and a lot of his stuff's in there. And you can, like, you go to a place with his songs. Like, yep, I'm sitting there on the couch next to him. Yep.
All right.
most definitely.
Now we're going to influence on hip-hop culture, which I think Biggie did very well. I think Biggie, he made it cool to be fat. I think fat guys got a whole lot of play once Biggie came through the door and he said, black and ugly as ever. However, you know, I think more black guys probably use that line or, you know, just because, or fat guys, black fat guys. So I think, yeah, I gave him an 8 on culture influence for sure. Strong 8. Could have had an 8.5 or better. I think he was very, very dominant in what he did.
Yeah, I would give him a 9 in that category because he made black fat guys build their confidence back up. Like, hey, I can get this bad bitch right here.
And
know,
I think really,
on the
not to cut you off, the only thing, I think he just didn't have enough time. If he would have been around a lot longer, you would have saw more of his influence on the culture. I think you would have saw more things that he came up with. So, yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
agree.
I think because he talked about a lot. I gave him a 10. I mean, I did.
That's
Because, I mean,
cold.
everybody, that's the top one I hear about. And like you said, the fat and black, since you keep flipping on that one. I mean,
What
it was fitting, I guess. He got to some people. He showed you he could still get a smooth, light-skinned, red bone, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
He did his thing.
Could
So.
he get you?
No.
Why?
No. I'm good on that.
Oh, because he fat and ugly.
Not at all.
Oh, okay. He was smooth, though.
He was smooth.
Now, if you sitting right here, he
I'm
could take you to
straight.
dinner.
Straight on that.
Oh. Do you like big guys?
If he was sitting right here, we'd all be in
Depends on
shock because
how
he's
big
been
we
dead
talking
for
about.
over.
Talking about how big we talking about.
He small and big.
Nope.
You don't like him that big?
Mm-mm.
I'm with you, back, because I don't like nothing big but a bankroll. I had to tell a big girl that last night. All in my
Ooh.
face. I said, this here, mama. You're a little too big for me. I don't like nothing big but a bankroll. Exit to the left.
That's
I'm
mean.
going to buy you a drink. Go on over there.
Did
I'm going
you
to get you
tell
two.
her like that?
Oh, did I tell her like that?
You told her like that.
Word verbatim. Didn't stutter.
That's
All right, we're going
rude.
to move on to the next. Go get out of Black's escapades right now and move on to the next. That would be record sales, which Biggie was great
Looks
at.
like
Record
he was
sales.
number 10 on there.
So what was number 10? Top 10 hip hop selling of all time? Is that what Biggie ranked?
Yeah.
According to the scales.
There you go. How many
yes.
was that? What did he sell?
12 million, 12 million albums sold.
Yeah. Okay. That says it. So yeah, I gave him an 8 record sales. As you see, I gave him a lot of 8s for record sales. What you got, Black?
I would gave him about an 8. I thought he would sold more than that, but guess he didn't. He should have had.
So he
sold more.
had, and that's for that album. So that's what we're looking at. I think that's for what album is that? That's for the album, right?
Do it say
Yeah, I think so.
all time.
It probably is his second album, right? Ready to Die.
It don't say it.
It doesn't say.
It does.
It don't say.
Nope,
So
it
that's
just say about
overall?
his career.
I would
Yeah,
think
it
he was,
is. That's 12 million sold for his career. Okay,
that ain't shit.
that's number 10.
Well, his career wasn't long either.
Yeah, that's number 10. That's all time.
Yeah, I thought he sold more than that. But
Give his time.
Well, 12 million. Okay, so yeah, I gave him an 8. I gave him an 8. Might even less now that it's only 12. But hey, that's good. That's it, still. All right, so we move to the next. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear y'all, everybody else's. Yeah, Dave?
I have no opinion. I got
Okay.
nothing.
You have
I mean,
nothing?
that's
Dave
not
just said
subjective.
fuck
That's just
it.
a straight fact. He
Right.
sold what he sold.
Right.
they said shit. Fuck it. I want to sell 12 million too. Shit. Anything.
Right. Ty?
They motherfucker.
I said
They
about
said I got
7.
nothing. I got
I got
nothing.
nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing.
He said, fuck it.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
you can
basically.
debate flow. You can debate style. You can debate impact. You
Can't
can't
debate
Record
sales.
sales is just
Record
what it
Like
sales.
Floyd
Numbers.
would rather say, women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. So I guess he sold
100%.
12 million.
I mean, but obviously, if he's number 10 on the list for 12 million, then a lot of these other rappers haven't sold anything close to that. So I mean, we got to look at that. So that gives him. an
How
advantage right
current is
there.
this, though? Because you got
Yeah.
Ludacris
And
Yeah,
look,
this
Chris,
is very
and
current.
MC Hammer. It's some other people that outsold. So you went back
No,
80s
because
records?
no, this is everybody. This is current.
so what they got Tupac? Cause I
At
thought-
number 3?
Number 1 would be Eminem. He has 52 million albums sold.
Yeah, I can.
Number
can
number
see him.
2 is Jay-Z.
I don't know
with
how the fuck he
33
sold
million.
that many records.
Who?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z?
His
I
bigger
do.
his bigger album was the first one, the one he did with Dame.
They
That only
ride his
sold like
nuts.
3 million.
He goes platinum he's had over 10
All the time. Do you
yeah,
see these
he has
fools
over-
paying
I
$200,
think he has
$300
11
for his
Uh,
I
studio
think
albums.
that
all that have gone platinum or multi. The Black album itself sold about 7 to 8 million.
I had to do the research on that. I don't believe that shit.
No, the
I
Black
think the
Album
numbers be
was
hyped
That
up.
one I can say is accurate.
Yeah, I might just look that up. I think that's hype. I think he hype. I mean, I'm not a Jay Z fan. I'm not.
Obviously.
I'm not a Jay Z fan. I think he had flow.
I don't think he's as good as they.
I don't
y'all
think. I'm gonna
raving
say this
about.
for sure.
So
and I-
Jay Z is number 10 on this list. We'll get
Oh,
down there to him.
I
10,
can't wait
the
to
goal
get-
was
I can't wait to get to him because
Yeah,
I'm gonna
okay.
cut his ass up.
We're not
Ooh-wee.
there yet. Let's get through Biggie. Metaphors. I gave him an 8 on Metaphors for Biggie. I think he was very good at giving, like the one I said, black and ugly as ever. However, stay coochie down. So he was good with Metaphors. Anybody different than the 8 or better than the 8?
No, I'm
or
giving
less
an
than
8.
I'd have to agree.
All right.
And
Conscious lyrics is where he fell down for me because I don't think Biggie ever said anything that, to me, that was
A 0.
conscious. That made me. I gave him a 6.5. I mean, he didn't have to talk about that. That was the style he chose to stay away from. I really don't. It was either gangster,
Maybe so.
chicks, gangster chicks. That's where he.
I gave him a
stayed his
0
bucket.
in that category. He wasn't-
Gave him a
yeah.
0.
Yeah, because he wasn't a conscious rapper. He didn't say nothing conscious.
Gave him a 6.5.
I-
0
I-
is hurt,
that's
man.
too high.
0 is hurt.
I'm just giving him 100. And I'm a Biggie fan. But conscious? Nah, he never said shit conscious.
Style, I gave him a 7.5 in style, which could have been higher, I would think. Okay, he did have a certain style about him. I mean, and the style that people mimic. We talked about the effect he had on the fat guys, but not even them. A lot of people copy his style, his image, the way he portrayed himself. I think so. I gave him a 7.5.
Biggie Smalls, I gave him a 9. I think he was a smooth, big, black guy.
Big black guy again.
He was smooth. Like how he dressed himself, kept himself up. Liked how he carried himself. So I would give him a 9.
Gave him a 9.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And the last category is popular pop. I gave him another 7.5. I think he would have had a bigger influence had he been around longer. So that was the only reason the 7.5 is what I gave him. Had he been here out longer, had the chance to have more of an influence, he would have had a higher score.
I gave him an 8 because you still got people who riding it
Who
out
wanna
on
get-
him.
That's
Even
true.
new heads, so.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's true.
So the overall number I have for Biggie is a 61. That's my overall number.
Like you supposed to be tallying up your thing.
That's why I gave you a calculator. I didn't give you a calculator. You got a
Yeah,
calculator.
He got a
I
calculator.
got one on my phone.
Oh, my phone right here. Quicker.
So his overall score was a 61. What do you have, Black?
I'm getting to it.
I'm going to have better answers next week because I got homework.
Yeah. I'm going to have it all down next week.
You got me something to do at work tonight.
That's what I'm here for.
I appreciate you. Mine is a 52.
A 62?
52.
Ooh, that's ugly. All right. Okay. It is what it is. It is what it is. So out of possible 70, you got a 52 on your list. He got a 61 on my list.
He got 66 on mine.
Okay. All right. So we can move on to the next one. I think we got
Wrong
about
spot.
10 minutes
put it
left,
right here. I
somewhere
should put it
around
right
there.
Oh, you did the swap.
The next one I have on the list is Nas.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Who put this in order?
It's not in any type of order. I'm just writing MCs. It's not in any type of order. It's just writing MCs. It's not.
It's going to get ugly.
I think we need to rank this list you gave.
Yeah,
So the
it's-
goal is after we
Who is BDK?
do the numbers.
Big Daddy Kane.
Dang it,
wow.
she was in the 80s.
I
God,
did it.
God.
High five on that.
God.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
Big
there
Daddy
you go.
K. I ain't know what the fuck he was. Shit. He ain't Big Daddy to me.
Damn, you just
He
said
ain't
Big
Big
Daddy
Daddy to
K?
me.
You don't like Big Daddy K?
I mean, he cool. I mean, he had a couple of little songs I might have listened to because it came across the radio in that time. Because we didn't have iPods then when he was out.
We have a lot of
So
stuff
you
then.
only listened to it because you had to listen to it.
Right.
You have no other choice because they had no iPods. God, that's bad, man. You are hard. You are the Russian judge for real.
I'm just looking at some of this shit on here, and I'm like, for real? How many songs Twister had out? You couldn't have that many songs out. Well, yeah, how many albums had Mike? 1 or 2?
Who?
Twister.
Twister.
He don't even deserve to be on this motherfucking list at all.
Some people would disagree with you.
Okay, well,
I'm not one of them, but some people. So again, you give a lot, and then you're able to break down where you're coming from. So that was the whole purpose. You know, you have to give more than the sample
the whole
size.
nigga on here, man, I'm mad at this list. I can take all these on here, except this one person on here.
Who?
Meek Mill's fake ass.
So my son will argue you down for that. I'm
Boy,
just telling you.
I
My
ever
son.
see Meek Mill somewhere in person, I swear on the Bible, I would spit dead in his face.
Oh,
Please
wow.
don't do that.
Meek Mill, he's soft.
He's soft because what?
He's soft, man. You can't claim you from the streets,
Uh-huh.
and then you let a R&B guy destroy you.
I knew that's where he was going.
I mean, you just can't. I mean, I'm a street guy. If Drake did me like that, I wouldn't have even
They
put.
friends now, man.
So you know
Leave
That's-
what's
it alone.
funny? Somebody told me that last night that Drake deserved to be in the top 10 of people.
See what I mean?
I was a little confused, and y'all know I ain't that person.
And so I wouldn't agree with that, but a lot of people would say that.
The perceptions are different.
Right.
Very different. Do I think he should be in the top 10?
Well, record sales. Where was he on that list for record sales?
Not at all.
Nope. A lot of old motherfuckers
I was
on
gonna
there.
say it's a lot of old. I don't see anybody truly current. Closest
DMX,
to
crack-
Well, look
Kid
it
in.
up. Y'all got them smartphones.
Okay.
Yeah, don't be trying to diss when I put my list. I put together.
Outkast, Beastie Boys.
Hey, I said I got
Outkast,
homework.
I
I'll
know,
check it
was
out.
one of the only rap groups that ever went diamond, and that's to sell 10 million on their first.
Yeah,
first
they did
album.
go diamond.
Ain't no doubt.
Yeah, no
They
doubt.
went
I
diamond
mean,
with a
they-
double
listen,
LP.
They're a classic. Outkast is a classic. I can see them being on here. I
But
fuck
you
with them.
said Dre shouldn't be on there. You said that off air. You said that off air that Andre 3000 shouldn't be on the list.
Not as a solo artist, no. I don't think his career as a solo artist was better than Outkast.
I could agree.
I mean,
Not as an independent.
You know,
He was-
Andre 3000 is one of the best MCs of all time, solo
Behind the
or in
scenes
the
or
group. No, I
in
think
front?
either way. Just as far as lyrically, now I understand it's a different onus when you're within the group, but I mean, without question, he was the best out of the two in that group.
That is true. But he made the group. But without the group,
he wouldn't be Andre 3000.
I disagree. I think he was his lyrical performance was strong enough to stay on his own.
Okay.
But we'll never know because he never did it. But that album was they did have two solo albums on the same.
And next
album.
question is, how many songs Slick Rick had? Albums he had?
At least 3.
Okay.
At
sound like
least
you
3.
got some homework.
Yeah, what you got? What why you hating
because
Slick
see,
Rick?
these artists, like, to me, when you say the top 10, he got so many artists on this list where I thought it should have been narrowed down to.
I never said the top 10.
Okay.
I said
He
the
said
GOAT,
it's gonna be an
the
ongoing.
number one. Yes,
deal.
an ongoing series.
Okay.
But that's a calculation of all our points together, I guess, to see who's the top champ, right?
Exactly.
Got you.
So he was giving us some variety, going to the penny candy store.
I have no
This
clue.
is your candy list.
I have no clue when it comes to like a Slick Rick. He had a couple of good songs, you
so
know.
you got some homework.
Slick Rick is known as the greatest storyteller ever in hip hop.
He,
I
You
keep
disagree?
hearing that.
he didn't last long. Shit, so I guess he told all the stories he could tell.
He went to jail, man. He shot his cousin.
Okay, well, then he should have told that story while he was in jail. Shit, these motherfuckers in
I'm
jail.
sure he
Listen,
did.
these motherfuckers in jail
He
still be
made a
recording.
record while he was in jail.
Okay, but it didn't do shit, huh? Because I didn't hear about it.
You
So
got
anything
some
you didn't hear
homework.
about, it didn't mean. That's what you're trying
I
to say.
mean,
Yeah,
nah,
I think you really need to check that out, man.
I'm just saying.
I think you
You
really
need to
check that
sign
out a
him
little
some
bit.
homework.
I
You need
just
to
like,
look up albums, how many albums they had.
I hear y'all, but it's at the point where, on some real,
Well, let's be clear that we haven't even made it to Slick Rick yet, y'all. We haven't moved past the second MC because Black just keeps talking about every other MC
okay,
on
come
the
on.
list.
Because I thought
So
it
how
should
much
have been.
time we got, Dave? I know we
I
about
think our
to.
time is up.
You're at about an hour 6.
Okay, yeah. So we're gonna get ready to wrap this up for this week, but we will.
It's going to span multiple episodes.
Yeah, right. We about to go into a second episode arguing with blacks. We're not gonna do that now. So yeah, we want to wrap this up. It's been good for our first show. We will be bringing in more members of the Riot Squad, someone who couldn't be here today, and that's gonna be very interesting when they're all here together.
Will be interesting.
As well as different guests, so more guests for the show. So remember, every Saturday, 12 noon, this is the Flavor Show. Closing words. Quick closing words.
Oh, he said real quick.
Quick.
How the fuck did Cardi B get on here? That's my goal on stage. I can't wait till next Saturday. Go ahead, Ty.
I got homework. That's it. Y'all funny.
All right, Dave, we good?
You're good?
We're good. All right, we see y'all next week. This is the Flavor Show. We out.
Awesome.
This is going to be quite fucking